Hello, good afternoon students. Here I am Sonoo Sir with a new video of class 7th, and our geography portion we have taken today, and in that we are taking chapter 3, our Earth part 2, and in that our topic is landforms created by waves. And if we talk about wave, that is sea waves. समुद्र की लहरें. Students, in this video we are going to check that how a sea waves make landforms. How by the sea waves then landforms occur. So before we talk this, we have to understand sea waves has a natural force. As we know, the tides, rotation and revolution of Earth is the reason that the waves, originated. As we know, in morning and in evening, two times there is tides, high tides, low tides are there, and the currents, the sea waves is always being in process. So as we know, these waves continues from the center of the sea and expand to the banks and the coast of the sea. So if we talk about our sea structure, there is center of sea, this estimating that there is total sea area or continent, and in the center this current and these waves originated from the center of the sea and goes to the surface of the sea or the coast area. Coast area. What is coast area? Samudra. So this waves or current reach up to the coast area, and including it carries types of sediments, concretes, sands, and different types of eroded sediments, and taking them in different part of the sea. Sometimes they left those sediments. What is sediments? You have to understand. पानी द्वारा लाया गया ढेर concrete and stones, sand particles, dust particles, including the sediments, and deposited on somewhere in the part of sea. So students, page number 30 in your course book, landforms created by waves. Many landforms in the coastal areas are created by sea waves. Waves carry out erosional and depositional work. What is erosional? Erosional. This two works of the sea wave, erosional and depositional. Erosion now means काट कर ले आया हुआ कंकड़, and depositional जमा कर, उन्हीं कंकड़ को जमा. So the concretes and the sediments which are taken by the sea waves, by the sea currents or waves, is deposited somewhere. So this erosional, that means cutting the sediments and taking with itself with water, and depositional means to deposit that sediments somewhere which it is naturally deposited. So by that natural deposition or depositional works and erosional works of sea waves, so many landforms are created, so many land structures are being created, like the seashore or the sea coast. There is lagoon, there is some hilly, some small mountains are there also created by the sea waves, by the struck of sea waves, by the hitting of sea waves. So many landforms are being created, and we see, and this has been happened only because of tides. These tides and these currents started in the center of sea and goes to the bank and coast of the sea. by this help of tides, this erosional and depositional work is there, and as the waves strike these rocks, and if there is a rock in the sea or at the coast of the sea, if this water, strike the rocks, takrata hai, when this water strike the rocks, cracks may be formed. In that cracks, that is garare. So in that the cracks are formed when the water strikes and hit on the rocks. And we see the action of waves for years increases the size of the cracks and holes formed in the rocks. And by the continuous striking, by the continuous striking of water on the surface or on the any part of the mountain or a hilly area, there may be a kind of hole in between of that mountain, or these cracks can be more wider. The cracks can be more wider. And students, they appear as caves and are called sea caves. And sometimes, this mountainous side, and if there is continuous water flowing by this place from both sides, so sometimes this, cave is gufa. So this, cave size structure being there, which is interconnected from both sides or both sides, so that is known as sea caves. Sea caves. Caves which are found in the mountain, below side of the mountain in the sea is known as sea caves. Then students, we move forward. The prolonged action of waves cuts through the rocks. Resulting structure is called sea arc. And this structure, if there is sea caves, this structure of mountain, this triangle structure of mountain is known as sea arcs. Sea arcs. The structure has side walls and roof, and this structure has side wall and roof also. Chat and side wall. And the London Bridge in Victoria, Australia, in Australia, Victoria, there is London Bridge, which is also a kind of sea arc and which is having sea cave also. And the Neil Island in Andaman, India. In Andaman Island, there is a Neil Island also, which is example of sea arc. This structure is also there. As erosion continues, the roof too withers away, and this sea waves continuously or constantly striking, this takrari. So this roof also get withers off. What is withers off? That is fat jana. So in spite of time, this roof picture he टूट जाता है, फट जाता है, withers off. WITHERS or withers off, फट जाता है. This roof also get withers off or withers away. The wall style features remain a form stakes, and then these wall style features and roof remain only stakes. What is stakes? That is ढेर. This is इसका ढेर. कोई बूढ़ा कोई चीज का ढेर या कोई भी चीज का ढेर जो इकट्ठा हो, that is stakes. So after the withering of this roof and wall, there will be a stake. ढेर बन जाएगा, there is stake in sea. Then students, we see in some areas rocky coast can be seen rising abruptly and steep, and by this constant striking of waves in coastal area, we see sometimes some high and steepy, that means patla, steepy mountains have been formed in coastal area of sea. We have been seen somewhere. Only the striking of water is, mountain has been formed there. And such a structure is called a sea cliff. And these mountains near, some areas, it can be in, coastal area, it can be in middle sea also. So sometimes, you know, these tracks become as a mountain because of striking of water from both sides. And if you see on page number 30, it is also given in pictures. You can see how sea cliffs is there, and you can see on your post on page number 30 it is written sea cliffs. So this, you know, triangle shape and, you know, small corner and upper corner of a mountain shape is there, and this is known as sea cliffs. Is formed in sea after the striking of waves from all sides. So these are formed when waves crash against the rocky coast near the base. So near the base, you know, this is the, you know, you will understand the sea, where is the base of sea, the coast of sea, and when it start, you know, deeper water. So constant striking and constant hitting of water makes here, you know, mountain shape is known as sea cliff. The sediments brought by the waves get deposited along the shores to form beaches, and the sediment which is taken from the current or waves from, you know, inside or middle part of sea goes through the coast kinare of the sea and coastal area of the sea and forms or deposited वहाँ पर इकट्ठा करता है the start and here the stacks of sand and sediments, and these sediments made their beaches, you know, as Sonoo Kinara, and Mumbai, you know, Juhu beach, and some other beaches are there. So this beach is formed by the sediments which waves have taken with itself up to coastal area, up to the bank of sea. Sometimes a coast may be made up of bands of hard rock alternating with bands of soft rocks, and sometimes this coastal area, we have to erase something. Sometimes this coastal area is having two types of rocks. Some there is hard rocks, band of hard rocks there, and there is soft rocks. So by the constant strike and hit of water, these soft rocks get erosion, get lifted by that water to inside, and these hard rocks remain there. The soft rocks may be erode faster to form base. Okay, these soft rocks erode, and here it forms base, B-A-Y-S, that is khari. That is, you know, lower, deeper part coming from a river, and the river, you know, enters in sea, and the sea waves, you know, deposited there some sands, and including with hard rocks, these soft rocks get eroded and, you know, form the bay, that is khari, that is bay, and this after erosion in soft rocks के हट जाने के बाद ये khari bay बनता है. So hard rocks remain there, and these soft rocks, you know, left from there and makes bay. And in example we see Bay of Bengal, Bengal की खाड़ी, Bay of Khambhat, Khambhat की खाड़ी, and different, you know, examples are there. Then we see, students, a bay is broad inlet of the sea where the land curves inwards. So this land curves, you know, this type of land curves, which is made by this striking of water waves or sea waves made there, and this area is inlet, means अंदर की ओर जुड़ा हुआ समुद्र. So this area is connected to the sea at the same time and having, you know, free space, broad space is known as bay or khari. When a portion of the sea gets enclosed between the sand, a lagoon is formed. And if in sea between anywhere, if anywhere the deposition of sand occurred and land formation in between of sea is there, is known as lagoons. And in that some natural vegetation can be there, some natural life also is there. So these lagoons are there, kind of small island in sea, deposited sand is there. So the Chilka Lake in Odisha and the Pulicat Lake in Tamil Nadu are large lagoons. And in Odisha there is Chilka Lake, which is the highest lake of India. Is also a kind of lagoon which is deposit sand in Odisha. And in Tamil Nadu there is Pulicat Lake, is also deposit of sand in sea, is known as lagoons. And there are three figures also given of Bronte Beach in Sydney, Australia, Belena Bay in Costa Rica, and Venetian Lagoon. So then we see either side, the Pereira do Casino Beach in Brazil is the longest beach in the world. Its length is equivalent to the entire coastline of New York State, which is 127 miles. So this is the highest beach in Brazil. And I would get to know what famous seismologist Lucy Jones is referred to as the earthquake lady. She is the first person to use statistical analysis to predict the likelihood that any earthquake will be followed by a bigger one. So Lucy Jones first established, she was a seismologist, which she searched and discovered that if there is a earthquake, it will be followed by a bigger earthquake in future. This is seen by Lucy Jones. And in summary, students, we see the continental drift theory explains the location of the continent in the present day world. How the continents are in the present day world is known by continental drift theory. And there are three types of volcanoes: active, dormant, and extinct. As we know, the surface of the earth vibrates as a result of movement of the lithospheric plates. This vibration can travel all around the earth. It's called earthquakes. And an instrument called seismometer is used to detect, record, and measure the intensity of earthquakes. As we know, and the different agents such as rivers, sea waves, ice, wind lead to change in landforms of the earth. So students, we covered this chapter. In next video we will see chapter 4, air and the atmosphere. And students, if there is any question, query, you can ask on my number. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.